Australia's fakest automotive brand, Polestar, is all cock-a-hoop this week after recently announcing that its new flagship fake dealership will open this summer, deep in the rectum of a shopping mall in Melbourne. I'm John Cadogan from Expert.com.au, but today, dude, I'm just going to identify as Australia's leading automotive investigative shit stirrer. Investigative shit stirrer, obviously a fairly new media category under the general rubric of, journalism. But I'm not alone, except in automotive. We've got some awesome investigative shit stirrers in Australia. We've got Michael West, Westy, love your work, dude, at the West Report. Tip of the spear of investigative shit stirrery, Jordan Shanks from Friendly Geordies. He's certainly a brave dude, unafraid to get the powerful offside right there, using mainly the truth, it seems. And I guess you'd have to give the silver medal for investigative shit stirrousness to Isaac Butterfield. He does some excellent work there too, confronting issues that are terribly scary for a great many people. So, ladies and gentlemen, Geordies, Buttsman, Westy, if you're scratching around for something to watch on a Friday or Saturday evening, there's really no shortage, I'd suggest. Where were we? I get new cars cheap in Australia only website. Card. Now, perhaps you think I'm being unkind when I refer to Polestar as the most fake automotive brand, but let me put it to you like this, and you can see if I am in fact being unfair. What does fake mean? It means not genuine, obviously. So the first thing I'd suggest, but you can make your own determination, obviously, is that Polestar is fake Swedish, okay? So size this up, right? They're owned by Geely in China, ultimately. If you go to Geely's website, Geely is actually Zhejiang Geely Holding Group, and you can go to zgh.com and have a look at our brands, and you will find Polestar under that. So you can put your head office in some, frozen paddock out the back of Gothenburg if you want, but if you are ultimately owned by a Chinese billionaire or owned by a company owned by a Chinese billionaire named Li Shufu, then how authentically Swedish are you, especially as the vehicles you sell are manufactured in China? I'm pretty sure most of the Polestar 2s that one could ever sit in or buy have never been anywhere near Sweden. So there's that, right? Now, if that's not enough to classify them as fake, perhaps we should think about their logo, which it's a pretty fake logo. At least that's what the French determined when Citroën took them on in relation to trademark infringement, because the chevrons were a little bit close, and indeed the French government agreed and prevented Polestar from being sold in France with their logo for about 6 months. You couldn't even, if you were a Frenchie, you couldn't even dial into their website. I understand that dispute has been settled and the details are confidential, but it's a pretty fake logo when Citroën is going to take you on for trademark infringement. Then I'd further suggest that the one product they sell, the Polestar 2, is really just a fake Volvo XC40, is it not? Isn't it just an XC40 that's had the styling makeover to make it look like a hatch? But when you walk up, you go, FMD, dude, that's a big hatch, right? But isn't Volvo going electric anyway, so what's the point, okay? So Polestar 2 is a fake Volvo XC40 as I see it. This fake dealership is called a Space with a capital S, and I further believe that they're peddling fake virtue, and they're peddling it pretty hard, all right? Let me put that in context for you. The Polestar 2 78 kilowatt hour battery, which is friggin' massive, dude. Like, it's a big thing with a big battery. It's heavy. It's a massive drain on the Earth's resources just to put a rich bastard in it so he can be in gridlock going from his home to his office in the city every day. Being an insufferably virtuous green twat, perhaps. Now, the reason I'm so critical of that is The fake XC40 of Polestar 2 is as heavy as a friggin' Hilux SR5. It's actually heavier, just by about 15 kilos, right? If you buy one, and this is not just me guesstimating, right? This is according to Polestar's own sustainability declaration, which you can find online, relating to their Polestar 2. If you buy one, you are effectively funding the emission of 25 tonnes of CO2. That's what it takes to rip the raw materials out of the ground and make a Polestar 2 and all the logistics to get it there in front of you with your black Amex out, dude. Now, I'd suggest that that is a hell of a way to start saving the planet, right? Incidentally, according to them, 53% of that embodied CO2 is the aluminium, the steel, and the friggin' electronics. It's got nothing to do with the advanced powertrain, right? 25 friggin' tonnes of CO2 is roughly the same as burning 10,000 litres of petrol, which, let's not forget, is enough basically to drive some shitbox Corolla 100,000 kilometres, which would take the average person about 6 or 7 years in Australia, right? Except this is not being emitted over 6 or 7 years. Those emissions are a done deal, and all you've got to do is put your black Amex down and fund it, okay? So if an advanced race just inserted itself into Earth orbit for the probing, right, and had a look at Polestar 2 and this concept that this is the kind of thing en masse that we are going to drive to green utopia in, I'd suggest that advanced race would either just get on with the probing and turn around and piss off without making itself known, or just conclude that we are doomed. Because there is a climate crisis, and Polestar 2 is not how you solve it, dudes. And this makes that thing, Polestar, entirely fake, in my view. It's nauseating. They've issued this release. Now, it is pretty early to call it, I know. I called it on Wednesday, and I gave Hyundai a bit of a reaming for their claims about energy efficiency with Ioniq 6, but this takes the freaking cake. Polestar to open Australian flagship space with a capital S, because obviously a Polestar space is a proper noun, at the quote-unquote fashion capital, cap F, cap C, like that's a proper noun, Chadstone Shopping Centre, Chatty. Can't wait. As if you thought a shopping mall couldn't get any worse, now we're putting a fake car dealership in one. Okay, so bullet points for the short of attention span, i.e. 9.5 out of every 10 journalists who will ever look. Let's go through them quickly. Polestar to open first Australian space, cap S, final frontier at Melbourne's Chatty this summer. Bullet point 2, Polestar Space, cap S, retail concept enables customers to interact with the Polestar brand, meet product specialists and take a test drive of the all-electric Polestar 2, which sounds even worse than heaven. I mean, heaven's just clouds and harp music and wall-to-wall insufferable virtuous twats, right? This is that in a confined space. So you wouldn't want it for 10 minutes, let alone frigging eternity. Point 3, wallpaper, cap W, like it's a thing, awarded Polestar the most immersive brand home. Fancy winning that for an award. Most immersive brand home for its space, cap S, retail environments in September. What was second place, I wonder? I'd suggest that if the world were literally true, the most immersive brand home would have to go to the Felicity Ace, would it not? That dirty big car-carrying ship that consigned all of those shitbox Volkswagens to Davy Jones's locker in the North Atlantic. Most immersive brand home. Swedish performance electric car brand Polestar has announced the launch of its first Australian flagship space at Melbourne's fashion capital, Chadstone Shopping Centre. Chatty, of course, if you've not attended, dude, where have you been? Home of the Butcher Club and Hello Kitchen. Just screams premium, does it not? You could go to Aldi there as well. You'd probably pick up a can of ham from a brand you've never heard of with, dude, very little risk of disease. You could go to Laser Clinics Australia and get your coochie waxed. I might do that. Now, in the current era, a man can have his coochie depilatorized if he wants, using, photons. You could go to Hokkaido baked cheese tart. I've met one of those once, and it's delicious. That's all I'm saying on that. So, yeah, in a shopping mall. The award-winning space concept, they say, has been designed to supplement the brand's digital-first retail model. I think they mean the buy now button on their online shop. Why don't you just call it what it is? Providing customers with an environment to connect with the brand. They mean, see the car. Take a test drive and experience the customer-centric approach of its team. Yes. So space, right? Let's talk about this Polestar space. Sounds to me like a Genesis-esque fake dealership in a shopping mall. Like maybe it doesn't have the killing floor and, no ankle-grabbing room, not even a Ming mall. That's not a net improvement in my book. But anyway, imagine that. Imagine that, dude. Specialists, they say, rather than salespeople, staff Polestar spaces. OMFG, dude. The verb is man, okay? I'm sick of having to apologise for being a man. And this is not even a gender thing. It's a language thing. The verb is to man. To man the ramparts, even if you're a chick, okay? Like, even if this is a gender thing, and frankly, I'm not seeing it, but if it is, if this is the front line of the battle for inclusivity, which should really be called inclusion, because only one of those things is a friggin' word, but if this is the front line of that battle, or the battle for equality, whatever, is the time for a ceasefire long since past? I'd have to suggest that yes, it is, right? Now, they're manning it. Dude, come on. Meaning that there's room for customers to explore at their own pace, and perhaps they're trying to suggest that you might be a bit, room temperature in the old IQ sweepstakes. That's a diplomatic way of doing that, is it not? And seek expert assistance, if required, to help with questions without the pressure of a sale. Samantha Johnson, Sammy J, head of Polestar, said, quote, "We are excited to announce the location of our first Polestar Cap S space. Chadstone Shopping Centre is a destination." Yeah, but it wouldn't be my first friggin' destination. It'd be pretty low on the old list there, Sammy J. And Australia's largest shopping precinct. Now, this begs the obvious question, who wouldn't want to go there? And the answer, as far as I can see, is every man I know who would rather stay home and just occupy his fat cave and crank up the power tools, make some sparks, fire some electrons out of his MiG gun into a piece of vulnerable metal kind of thing. Go a bit Jedi. The only way you'd get me to chatty is if you let me occupy one of those pop-up spaces with a little s, so that I could man a booth and just look at couples coming in. You could see a strong, brave, confident woman striding in to have her coochie treated at Laser Clinics Australia, perhaps, followed a few steps back by a man with the full Easter Island face visage. And all I want to do is I just want to grab those dudes and say, come over here. Just, you don't have to be here, dude. Talk about the ultimate public service. It's not going to change anything if you're not there. You can stay in your own fat cave and have a good time, and let's let the old Laser Clinics Australia handle the... How difficult is it, dude? Anyway, Sammy J goes on and says, our space concept has been carefully designed. I want to see something that a corporation does that hasn't been carefully designed, that they just said, fuck it. It's like this. Might be better. Carefully designed to reflect the brand's minimalist brand philosophy. Now, I've got a problem with that, okay? A brand can't have its own philosophy. Only the people who are the stewards of the brand can have the philosophy and impart that on this and that. The brand can't have its own philosophy because it's inanimate. So there's that, and it also sounds clunky, reflecting the brand's minimalist brand philosophy, you know, while presenting a welcoming environment. And this is very clever because it purportedly presents this welcoming environment despite looking like the inside of a fucking closet in Superman's Fortress of Solitude, in which customers can experience the all-electric Polestar 2 at leisure. That's lovely, isn't it? The only problem with this space is it's not up there with Moncler or Hugo Boss or even Golden Goose, those, you know, lived-in shoes that the celebrities all wear, Louboutin, whatever. You know, Polestar's final frontier is actually further down in the old chatty digestive tract, deep in the gut, closer to the outlet, isn't it? We'll get to that. They clarify that Wallpaper is the global authority on design, technology, transport and interiors. Is there anything it doesn't know, dude? Awarded Polestar the most immersive brand home for its Polestar Spaces retail environments in September. They're not shops, they're retail environments, which focuses on inspiration and celebrates spaces, installations and experiences that get straight to the heart of the brand. Yet more evidence, I'd suggest, that our civilization really has achieved peak wank. This is a club sandwich, dude, made, insofar as I can tell, almost entirely of bilateral corporate masturbation. The Melbourne space, they say, will be open in summer and be located on the lower ground level at Chatty Shoppo. Deep inside the retail anus. That's me talking, that last sentence, for complete disambiguation. Capital A in anus, incidentally. I just made that up. I wonder what Wallpaper would have to say about that. Most immersive retail anus of Australia's most premium shopping precinct. Nice location too, dudes, down there with Kmart and Target, and of course Salmonella Central, by which I mean, obviously, KFC. Perhaps you think I'm being unkind to Colonel Cluck, you know, categorising him in this way, but I suggest au contraire. According to iwaspoisoned.com, interesting website concept, quote, the most commonly reported symptoms of KFC food poisoning are diarrhoea and nausea. So almost but not quite shits and giggles. Maybe for onlookers. It is exactly that. Chicken, they go on to explain, is one of the leading causes of salmonella, and the illness has been reported by KFC customers worldwide. Thank you, iwaspoisoned.com. Full points for consistency, Colonel Clark, worldwide. Well done, son. But sometimes, you know, it really is a little more serious than merely hilarity and leaking uncontrollably from the anus with a small a. According to the BBC, you know, in 2012, the Supreme Court of New South Wales awarded $8 million in damages to a young girl who was left tragically brain damaged, unable to speak and wheelchair-bound after eating a rancid KFC Twister wrap. Jesus Christ. KFC, in response to that verdict, said it was deeply disappointed by the decision and would appeal. So not exactly a tsunami of empathy there, insofar as I can tell. I don't think I'm being unfair categorising the Colonel in that way, therefore. Anyway, down there in the base mall in space, surrounded by Target, Kmart, Salmonella Central and Polestar's Scientology Space of Solitude. Their outlet store, their fake dealership, whatever. How would Charles Darwin respond to that? Would he need to rethink the concept of natural selection? I think he might, because it doesn't seem like a net step forward for humanity, but, who am I to tell? Which way would you turn down there, near the anus of Chatty? Me, I'd be either making a beeline upstairs to Hokkaido egg tart. That was most enjoyable, I'd have to say. Maybe I'd just go up and get my coochie zapped. Anything's possible. I mean, it's 2022. If a woman can do it, if a dude can be pregnant, a man can get his coochie zapped at laser clinics Australia. Unless it's a violation of their company policy, who would know? Only seems fair to me. If you want to be inclusive about it, Is the modern world not truly glorious, I tell you? Thank you very much, Polestar. I really did enjoy this one. I did. I think this is one of your best. I honestly do. See you in space, dudes, with, of course, Uncle Elon.